This is Larry Jordan, the host of the Digital Production Buzz. The following interview is an excerpt from a recent program. To hear the entire program, visit digitalproductionbuzz.com. Grant Burton has been creating training videos for the Royal Australian Air Force for almost 20 years, where he's now a producer and a digital analyst. He began as a member of the RAAF and now works for the military as a civilian. Hello, Grant. Welcome.
Good afternoon, or good evening, or good morning, wherever you happen.
You know, it's hard to tell, Grant. I give up on trying to figure out what the time is. How are you this fine day, and how is Australia treating you?
Oh, jolly good. As alluded to, I've been absolutely flat out with a lot of work lately, but there's never enough time for training, it would seem. So I decided, while working flat out over Christmas, I decided to enroll myself to do summer film school. It's been 30 years since I went to film school, so I figured it might have been time that perhaps I learnt from people far more professional than myself and see what I've been missing.
Well, you know, before you talk about the film school, tell us what got you involved in training in the first place?
Very early on, when I started my career and when I was in the Air Force, I originally just did things like promo videos, air show videos, pretty things for public relations. But quickly, it established itself that video training was a easy, quick way to communicate complex ideas and complex types of training in a visual medium without having to resort to all sorts of fancy computer graphics and things like that. And I started out very early doing that, and then of course it went on from aircraft, and then it seemed to expand itself into all sorts of stuff, from scenario-based learning to workplace, occupational health and safety, you name it. It's A to Z of type of training now. But originally started with aircraft, and now it's everything.
Well, you've been doing training for 20 years, give or take a little bit, from a training point of view, not from a technology point of view. But has training changed over that time?
Yeah, absolutely. We've gone from what we probably would have known when we went to the school of known as chalk and talk. Though I don't think chalk actually exists anymore. I'm not sure. It probably does. But anyway, I guess it's 4 colours of the whiteboard these days. But we've gone from that, and I think we all remember sitting in schools probably being bored by a 16mm film being shown when the teacher used to fall asleep and the students used to do the same. To now where it's a lot more interactive. It can be produced by. In fact, I'll give you one example. The way training, a lot of training that we can deliver now is students actually make their own training. Give you an example that, say, students are told to go and make a video, and they go, well, how do I make a video now? 10 years ago, if you ask this question, you go, what equipment do I need? Basically, everyone carries the equipment in our pocket these days, believe it or not, to actually shoot and edit and upload video. Most smartphones of any type of brand can actually do that. So students are encouraged to make a topic. Here's the topic. Form teams, do this. And this is even what we were doing at film school. Even if we didn't have advanced equipment, here's the topic, here's the script, here's the treatment. Go ahead and need this by 9 o'clock tomorrow. So at 2 a.m. you're still editing on whatever equipment you've got and whatever. But it was a way of collaboratively approaching and coming up with ideas. And why did you shoot this way? And it can be done same for scenario-based learning. If you want to force the rules of some sort of policy or something, make a 2-minute video on how this is important, and you come back with 6 different ideas, and it's a great way of students learning with each other and also learning the technology at the same time, regardless of whether they're in filmmaking or not. You're teaching the teachers of tomorrow how to use the technology of today to deliver interactive or video-based training. So it works in a sort of 360 circle in that respect. Well,
now we can shift forward because you decided to go to film school. Tell me, who was the instructor and what did they cover?
We did have a number. We had a number of different instructors. My main one I had for the first week was a guy called John Brawley. He may not be known that much to American audiences. He's very much known to Australian audiences. He's been doing cinematography now for over 20 years, a lot of Australian TV drama. I think he has actually done some American stuff as well, but he's done a lot of feature stuff as well. Very gifted, I'd put it, man to instruct not just in the art of cinematography, but the art of way I guess a medium production budget television program would be done. That was completely enlightening for someone who's been pretty much a solo or small team producer for the last 30 odd years. I had a concept in my mind, and we all see credits on television going, oh, I wonder what a Grips does. I wonder what that does. I wonder what Best Boy actually. I totally know now what those people really are, and the interaction and the hierarchical arrangement of that was fascinating, because we did participate with real people producing a little 2 or 3 minute script that took us 2 days, with those people, with grips, with lighting teams, with sound teams. I even learned what a focus puller does. I had no idea until I went that there's actually someone dedicated just to pull focus. Amazing. I never knew that. It's one of, you might go, oh, wow, how did he not know that? Well, I do now.
As you think about it, aside from discovering all the different people and all the different jobs that are necessary to make a film, from a training and from your job point of view, what's a key takeaway? What did you learn?
I think we all know there's more than one way to achieve a goal, and I think that was the big takeaway from first week I did cinematography, the next week it was low budget filmmaking, and the last week I did 3 weeks of it was documentary and interview filmmaking, which was I originally thought I wasn't going to find that fascinating. I found that deeply fascinating, the way a documentary film producer produces these things with passion and no money. That's quite amazing. But all the documentary filmmakers said, if you're coming in to make documentary filmmaking for money, you're in the wrong job, because you won't. But it's a love of passion, and that's what I took away. It's passionate people, and while one cinematographer would say, this is the way I would do this scene, and this is how I'd convey this mood, and this is what cinema space is, and learning all the rules that I'd long forgotten about, screen space and screen presence and motivation behind the camera. So many topics in there I could possibly fit in this interview. But the biggest thing I took away is, especially when you're solo like myself, or even work in small teams, you come very insular. We're creatures of habit as humans. We like patterns, we like habit, and we fall into that even in this industry, and you can't, because the industry changes so much. But artistic and creative natures that we all are, especially in this industry, it's an artistic talent that you must have. It has to keep evolving, and not just because the technology keeps evolving, but in order to stay fresh, to stay current, to stay valid, and especially people who are looking for contracts on a weekly basis, monthly basis, have got to keep those skills current and fresh and innovative, otherwise you just don't get hired. And so the training for me, the takeaway was that it's so many different ideas out there. Unless you collaborate physically, you can do a lot on the internet, and notice we've all done online training, but actually being in a room with other people and discussing ideas in an open, free, non-judgmental sort of environment, without sort of bosses looking over and saying, this is the template, I want you to produce things, and not having any of that, just free and creative expression of not just ideas, but how to produce an end result. You take away from it and go, oh, right, I've never actually thought about lighting a scene this way, or having this approach to this particular training problem, or this particular type of technology could be used if you don't have this, coming up with all sorts of alternatives. Unless you go looking for that in the internet, and often, well, how do you know what to look for if you don't know what you're looking for, sort of thing? It's one of those. But if you're in a group of people who are all very creative, passionate, enthusiastic artists, and I use that word quite seriously, they are artists, and I guess I am too, but it just leads to so much exchange of ideas. You just go, wow, this is just things I hadn't thought. So
keep going, we're listening.
That's okay. So that's the big thing. That's why I think anyone who thinks that I did film school 10 years ago, what
It sounds, however, like the class was really helpful in terms of discovering what you needed to know that was new, and help you to focus on the skills that you can use to create new training that models modern production techniques. True?
Absolutely. Yeah, that's it in a nutshell. Yeah.
And Grant Burton is a producer and digital analyst for the Royal Australian Air Force. And Grant, thanks for joining us today. Take care.
All right, thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.